Mhm.
Okay. Welcome to Real Talk at the Round Table with Coach William Forcom, Coach David Smith, and Coach Dee Zimmerman. We are here and we are happy to bring you guys the latest scoop from the personal development world. That's right. We are all three personal development coaches, Ramsey coaches, and we are happy to be here with you guys today.
That's right. And if you guys have been watching these ads these last week, um, Dee Zimmerman is an awesome person. She's great. If you play tennis with her, she's probably going to give you the backhand. It's awesome. She's powerful. However, today we are going to be focusing on coaches. So she is a powerful couples coach that is really good,
Mm.
and she's going to be bringing some powerful things about coaches and finances. Dee Zitherman, let's dive right in. How you doing today?
I'm great, thank you. It's really great to be with you guys. You're hilarious and fun and awesome in so many ways. So thanks for letting me be here. And I guess I'm pretty good. That's what I heard you say, David, that I'm pretty good.
That's right,
So
you are.
thanks.
Thankfully, I don't play tennis because you probably womp on me, but that's okay.
Oh, I don't know. It's all relative. Yeah, there are people that beat me up and then I beat other people up. And I don't feel bad about it. Not in the tennis court. I'm
That's right.
competitive.
But one
Yeah.
thing I'd like really to get into with you, um, we were created to love and to be loved. We have to be with somebody. It's better for us to be single, but if you're going to have issues, it's better for you to be married. So, most of the people out there in this world today, they're either single and looking for someone or they are married. So, you are a powerful and great coach to be able to help these multitudes of people.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. It's purposeful work and challenging, and I love the challenge.
Yes. So, one of my questions that I have for you, since you just said it's challenging, what is
Yeah.
your biggest challenge when you're dealing with couples?
Right. One of the reasons that they're working with me is because they struggle with money conversations. Um, and there's a spectrum. Um, all of us could improve our money conversations. I just had a conversation with my husband that kind of came out of the blue, and I realized some things could be improved. Um, and but because we struggle with that, um, that's not an easy fix. That's not like just introducing a tool, a financial tool, or a financial system, and just learning how to use it and implementing it. Um, Money is emotional, we know that, and money is emotional in our relationships. And so, whenever emotions are involved, it's challenging. What just came to my mind too is another reason it's that I say that's challenging is because it is no surprise, and you are normal if it's difficult, because we all come into a marriage with different histories. We experience money in different ways in our family, and it developed these money scripts that we have. There were moments that happened in our lives that shaped us around money, and not to mention just different personalities, different money types naturally, too. And so when we come together in a marriage, I think oftentimes it surprises us that managing money together is not a piece of cake, that it
Mhm,
doesn't go smoothly. But it's no wonder that it doesn't
mhm.
because of that. And it's very rare for spouses to have the same when they come together.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I know this one couple, and I'm not going to mention no names because we don't want them to get offended, but I know this one couple that the person that loves spending money, they had to have an emergency fund for their emergency fund because they love to spend money. So in a relationship, when you come up with a couple, and I know this probably happens a lot, that one loves to spend money, then does not want to have to worry about how much have they spent, how much are they in the hole. They just love to
Yeah,
spend. So how
yeah,
do you work with somebody like that?
yeah. All right. Well, Right. I mean, it does help for them to kind of understand their own money mindset and the perspectives and what's behind that, why they do. So self-awareness is important, but also curiosity with their spouse rather than fear or being accusatory. And so it's back to those conversations. It's back to those conversations of explaining, like, this is why I do this. This is why, I spend on this. This is something that I really value. Most likely that's not something that your spouse values, but being able to explain why I value spending on this. So it just comes back to conversations, and the conversations are tough. But there's ways to have that with an attitude of curiosity and non-judgment.
Hmm.
Yeah. And if I could just throw in an extra layer on top of this, I've been loving watching the back and forth between you and David. I feel like an outsider viewing this, not part of it. So I just want to dive in here.
Yeah.
Detail-oriented people, like half of the couple, and then like the
Yeah.
free-spirited people, the other half. It's a challenge to. That's what I keep hearing. This word challenge is the challenge. It's challenging. It's a challenge for those types, which that's oftentimes the dynamic with like variations and layers mixed in. But like that rough dynamic, that structure, it is a challenge to kind of mesh that and
Yeah.
into like a marriage conversation about like where are we going to spend our money.
Yeah.
Um, so I've got a question here.
Sure.
The detail oriented people out here, if you're sitting down with a detail oriented person, say the free spirit's not even there, that's not hard to imagine. And the detail oriented person is reaching out for help, saying, D, please help me right now. I can't get my spouse on board. They're out spending money right now, and I just don't see the avalanche coming. They don't see it. I see it. What's your next step there in that moment?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so they come to me with that. It's so funny because I realized recently when I was talking to some other people that oftentimes what people coming to me think that they need is, and they might say it, if only my partner would change.
Hmm.
And what I'm going to say is, if only the two of you could learn to talk and talk in the right way.
That's good. That's powerful. And
Yeah.
so many people, when they get into a relationship, I hear them all the time saying, well, you know what? I can change them. This is a project I can work on.
Yeah.
Um, when in reality, in a relationship, you don't change the person. However, both people change a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sure you deal with a lot of newlyweds, new couples, as well as people that's been together for many years.
Yeah. Both.
And that's a big difference in the dynamic when you're talking to them. So, how do you work with the new ones versus the ones that's been married for a while differently?
Oh, I love the question. I don't think I've had this one before. Yeah. So um, it's beautiful being able to work with them early on, um, because they haven't given up yet. They're not, they're just learning. And I think they tend to be more open to change and learning how to have those conversations. And so if you can set them up with the sort of environment to create and give them the courage to step in and not avoid those conversations from the very beginning, oh man, like that's going to be so, so good.
Hmm.
Sometimes when it's early on, it can still be really tough though. I just talked to a couple a few days ago, newly married, but they have a baby. And so they have all these other pressures, and they're having a hard time because they are very different around money. And I think maybe a unique challenge that you have with those that are younger is maybe some discouragement, some surprise and discouragement that this is what they're encountering when they just thought it was going to be,
Mm-hmm.
rainbows, right? So I think for them, especially encouraging them that this is normal, that
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing wrong with your relationship, that you have a love and a reason to be together, and this is normal, but it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and
Now the ones, yeah, go ahead.
you brought up newlywed with a child. Now I know with a child,
Hmm.
I'm very tight with my finances. I don't really spend much on me, but anything my child wants, they get. Especially when you're a new parent, you want to
Hmm.
spoil your kids. Now, when
Yeah.
you've had a couple, you're a little different, but those newlyweds that with a fresh baby,
Yeah.
how do you help them so they don't blow anything to their kids and spoil
Yeah.
them?
Yeah. I think it's a values talk. I think it's like digging deeper into what are the deeper values. What do you really want for your child? What do you really want for your family? Kind of bringing that perspective in so that it's not just about the short term and the here and now and getting the toy that will, make them happy in the moment, that kind of
Mhm.
thing.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. David, I really liked how you said it's different for those of us who have like multiple kids.
Yeah.
Um, and really the answer that I get the majority of the time, number one answer is I want to give my kids the stuff that I didn't get when I was growing up. Like that's always the answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like why does it have to be material stuff? Couldn't it be like experiential stuff like going and playing basketball or tennis or football or running or just going for a walk with your kid, like like having that time together? Couldn't it be that maybe you had that and maybe now you want to keep that going? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is exactly, I mean, that exactly ties into what David and I were just talking about. And when I mentioned, digging deeper and what is it that you really want for your child?
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And whenever we can dig deeper into that, that helps us, whether we're talking about couples or babies or whatever, just our spending. It helps us understand why we spend on what we do, or to maybe change that. Yeah, to what's more important. I love that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
you know
David,
ju- just
go ahead.
just getting real. Yeah, I want to. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I want to give some value here. I want to speak from a place of uh, vulnerability for a minute. So as an only child, I was like raised spoiled, like just all the material stuff thrown at my feet. And in a broken home, mom and dad, they just try to buy my love in a lot of ways. It was what it was. I don't know. I don't think they tried to do that, but that's looking back, it seems like that was the case. So what that did to me, it I think it made me fixate on the material stuff
Mm,
more and put emphasis on it. But when it comes down to it, guys and gals, like the material stuff doesn't matter at all. Like
mm,
it's just a very small fracture of what actually matters. So like I had to work through that. I had to like get on the other side of that, and then it put a lot of pressure on me to focus in on it because like that's my mom and dad's love there. So I
mhm,
was almost forced to respect them, you see.
mhm.
Uh, and then there's another layer whenever I didn't, like for instance, I was given a truck, a like $15,000 truck. I was given just here you go, here's the keys
Wow,
because
yeah.
we love you. I totaled the truck. That led to
Oh,
resentment from my
no.
father.
Yeah, that's
You
hard
see,
then for you to have done that, and then you feel as though you have thrown their love away or put it back, yeah, thrown it in their
there you
face
go.
because it was
Yeah.
tied to the truck.
Yeah. Exactly right. You got it.
Got it. But that's a really great example. Yeah.
Appreciate
Wow.
that. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
yeah, it's
even
yeah,
even
it's a
if
battle.
you're not really giving them a gift, it's not necessarily a gift to be giving more and more material things.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Sure. Yeah, and we want to give our children good things. We want to give our kids like the best ever, because I think that that's what our Father does, in heaven. He wants to give us good things, and He does.
Hmm.
But what are those good things? Kind of making full circle. What are those good things? Is it
Yeah.
a walk in the park? Is it a tennis match? Is it a basketball game? Is it, doing something, working on the car together, doing it together type of thing? I think that is the best thing that we can give our children.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and yet your parents' intentions were probably really, really good. And
Absolutely.
see, just even knowing that there was that kind of thing can come up between the spouses. Like one might want more of those material things for the other, might be spending actually, not just on themselves, but on the other. And it's a material thing, but it's just not as well received by the other. The other person just thinks they're spending too much, and the person that's spending is if you had these conversations, you might be able to uncover it's I'm trying to show my love to you.
Hmm.
So it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's the way that they want to show love.
Sure.
Now there's, kind of we fleshed out like material things. There can be kind of a dark side to that, and pressure when you do receive those things. But the intentions of the other person might be very, very good. And they
Yeah.
usually are. They usually are.
Absolutely.
Uncovering that and understanding um yeah, that the your partner's not the enemy. They're not just doing things for no reason.
Hmm. Yeah. And I'll keep going. I'll be vulnerable just for the
Mhm.
sake of relatability here. My dad, he was a truck driver, worked 80 to 100 hours a week, always gone. So
Right.
that was his love language. Like that's
Yeah,
how he showed love because he wasn't there, right?
yeah.
I would have like if I had have had the choice. Hey, give me half of what you gave me. Give me a quarter of the material stuff you gave me. Give me a 16th of it, an eighth of it, a 16th of it, a 32nd of it. I don't want any of it. Give me you. I want you, Dad. Like
Yeah.
that's what I want. And and I think that's what every kid wants. And the message that it comes with is an underlying message. It's a subtle message, but it is a message whenever we try to buy our children's love is
Mhm.
I've got better things to do, but I love
Mm.
you. And here you go.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Sad. Yeah.
Yeah, and
There is that.
that happens a lot of times, like when you're in a split relationship, whether the parents are together but
Oh,
they're
right.
not in agreement, or whether they're separated or divorced, whatever. But anytime there's separation between the parents, they're not agreeing with each other.
Hmm.
The kid will go to one, no, you can't because blah blah. Go to the
Yeah.
other, okay, here you go.
Yeah.
Or they'll try to outbuy the other one. You love
Yeah.
me more because I'm paying you more. When you get into a situation like that, how do you pull them back to reality?
Hmm. The power of money. Right. Right. Yeah, so you're saying, David, whether they're separated in some way, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're divorced, right?
Correct. Because they could be
Right.
married, still together, still living with each other, but they're
Mhm.
not necessarily together in their
Yeah.
agreement.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, I think again, it's just this may not be brilliant, but I think it's just again digging deeper and asking those questions about um why you made that choice. What's behind that choice the choice that you made to say yes to the child even when the other had said no. And we don't necessarily know the answer to that unless we ask those questions. It might be a fear of losing the love of the child since there's some conflict going on. That's one of the things that I think about. Or it might just be a spirit of revenge, hurt an anger towards the spouse. And so using money as a tool in that, those are sad situations when that happens, isn't it?
Yes. Now you brought up something that really perks my spiritual ears. Um,
Okay.
you mentioned
Oh,
one of
yeah.
the spirits. So when you're doing the couples coaching, it's definitely spiritual. And I can definitely tell you're a mighty um, spiritual warfare as well. So do you pray before you go in? Do you pray with them? How do you keep your spiritual ears tuned to what's going on?
That's dependent on the clients that I have, where they're coming from, what their where their faith is, because there's a wide range there.
Hmm.
Um, but I think that prayer can be an awesome tool, or an awesome, yeah, I think tool is an okay word to say.
Sure.
Yeah, so it really does depend on what the couple or the individual, because I do some work with some singles too, one-on-one, but whatever they're comfortable with. And that's been powerful, when they are comfortable with that and we can do that. It's just awesome. But I never want to step over that boundary
Hmm.
of where somebody is coming from, because they came to me for certain things and that was not clearly defined and out there. And so if they want that, yes, but I got to be sensitive to that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So do you pray before the sessions, just yourself, so that you can
I
be
think
spiritually in tune?
I think we all do, right? I mean, I think we all do. I mean, we hope to have a little bit of time before a session, some buffer before what we just did before, so we have a chance to take a breath and have that prayer.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think that's important. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I think that I could do that more afterwards. Now that you brought up the question, than I currently do. We talked about during the session, that depends on what I'm discerning, and I'll
Hmm.
always ask permission with the client too. But yeah, now that you asked the question, I'm like, do I do that as much as I could afterwards? A lot of times you're done. I write out my notes. I kind of jot down some things that I think I want to remember, that we're going to tackle the next time. So not always on that end, but I think it'd be great.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I
Mhm.
have to say, I don't have as much personally in this field because I am single. But I have worked with a lot, especially when I was in the ministry field. A
Uh-huh.
lot of people came to the church asking, for different things.
Uh-huh.
So one of the biggest things that I had seen, and I wonder if you deal with it or what you have to do, because we're talking about couples and finances,
Hmm.
I'm going to stress a little bit more towards the newlyweds, the new couples, and those hidden bank accounts. So I have an account that I don't want my wife to know about. We just got married and I don't really trust her. 7 years is when it comes to, your relationship is good. So I don't really trust her yet. So I have a hidden account. When those things come up, how do you approach that?
Wow. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Secret. I've even heard that advised sometimes. And coming from a women's perspective, I understand why that is often suggested. I don't agree with it. I wouldn't want that. I would try to gently, though, gently, because there are reasons. There are reasons. It's typically a woman, because women do typically feel, number one, security is generally, there's exceptions, but generally very important for women, and they typically feel more vulnerable. Um, and around money. And it's still a little bit of a man's world around money. It's changing, but it's still there more. And I do think that they feel more vulnerable were there something to happen in the marriage. And how would they survive?
Mm-hmm.
If they have children, they know that they are the ones that typically, again, it's just generalizations, but typically step out of the workforce for a while or go part-time, that kind of thing. That can impact their job security and that sort of thing. So I have heard that. Keep that secret account just in case. So again, it's understanding the heart behind it,
Mm-hmm.
digging that out, and then addressing that together with the couple. And what a beautiful thing, really, if that exists, to be able to draw that out. And most likely, there's not going to be any reason why that needs to continue as you work together and the trust grows and you have other financial matters in order, and your ducks in a row and so forth. And what a beautiful thing to be able to take that concern and that fear away,
Mm-hmm.
and to be able to
Mm.
offer that kind of security to whoever it is that really feels that strongly, whether it's the guy or the gal. Yeah.
Well, that's
And so
powerful.
whenever I talk about these challenges, they're a beautiful thing. Challenges are a beautiful thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Well,
Challenges.
challenges grow us, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So
You
these
can't go
challenges,
nowhere without a challenge.
yeah. 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 So we turn them into something beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
You today with the double negatives, David. That's right. Grammar Nazi Will's coming in here, calling
Oh
you
boy.
out, bro.
Do it.
Well, see, that's why me and Will works out so great
Yeah.
because, like, for those that know the Ramsey system, I'm a free think. No, I'm not a free thinker. I'm a planner. I'm a plotter. I'm a nerd. Okay. Will is the free spirit, the kind of
Straight
go
up.
at whim, but he is the grammar
Yep.
Nazi. So I put things out, and he's like, "Well, let's change these words." So we have a lot of fun with that.
We
But
do.
I will
We do.
say at this point, we've been flopping between 2 and 4 people. So
Hmm.
we are at the questions point. So if you guys have any questions, we will bring them up to the group. Just put it in the chat. And by the way, the best
Fun.
question wins a reward at the end. So make sure you get some good questions.
Can I have a question? Or am I disqualified from the award?
Well,
Okay.
you don't get to get that reward because all these questions are going to you. However, I'll just spill the beans now. You're going to get a reward too.
Oh, okay.
So
I
we
need to meet
usually we usually give
I'd
3 rewards
be
out.
that. I'd be happy to be here without that. And I could
Yep.
talk about this stuff forever. Hmm.
But speaking of which, I hear that you are getting ready to do something special coming up.
I am. I am. Yeah. Yep. I'm so super excited about this. I've been doing one-on-one coaching for 4 years and 4.5. Yeah. And I am developing a group program for couples. And the thing with it is it's going to be layered with one-on-one as well. So they will go get, that personal attention as well as the community. And yeah, and lots of other bonuses, features, stuff like that. So I am just super, super excited to do this, to launch it.
So
I've
I
done,
have a question because you said
sure.
also one-on-ones involved as
Yeah.
well. Okay,
Yeah.
so you have a couple. Does that mean one
Mm.
of the couples and then,
Oh,
both, or is it just both of them together?
both of them together. That's what I meant by one-on-one. I need to be clearer about that. Yeah, I mean private. The two of them together with me.
So 2-on-1. That's really
Yeah,
powerful,
two
though.
on one.
Yep,
I
that's
should
really
say that,
powerful.
201. I think that I think that that still is extremely that's still needed. Number one, financials are personal. So, no numbers are shared in the group program
Hmm.
unless people want to. And then to dig into their unique money scripts their challenges and the dynamics of the relationship. I want to have that one-on-one time with them. So it's layered. Yeah. Yeah. So super excited about this. And I think it's going to be a thing that I'm going to always be offering, and may just be the main thing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, since you just said the main thing, because I was going to ask a different question, but you just threw the main thing out, so I had to switch the question.
Okay.
So, since you're gearing it towards your main thing,
Yeah.
a couple wants to be private, they don't want the group. Does that mean you're not going to see them because you want them to tie into the group if it's the main thing?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. You'll always do the two-on-ones.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's good.
If that's what they want and need, and when we talk, we'll discern what
Okay.
it is.
So
Yeah.
that's good. You're an adaptable coach. You'll go with the situation, whatever they need, you're there for them.
Aren't we all? I mean, we have to be adaptable, right?
That's right.
Everybody's situation is unique, and
We
yeah,
actually grow to the situations, companies
yeah,
going out of business, and we do something similar. So we offer a special deal to bring all those people as well. So we're
ah,
constantly adapting and growing.
right.
Every single coach. The funny thing is, statistically speaking, um, at least within the Ramsey setup,
Hmm.
most coaches don't make it past the first year. Marriages, they say typically 7 years is your benchmark. But
Uh,
in the coaches, if you make it past a year, those are
hmm.
the coaches that's going to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you see as well?
Yeah, we've all made it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have heard that for businesses in general.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, startup businesses.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I've
I'm
actually
here.
been coaching since 97.
I Yeah. I'm so much older than you guys, but I'm not going anywhere.
That's right. Well, I don't like to say old because I'm only 25, right?
Oh,
I just
yeah,
have
that's
anniversaries to my 25th birthday,
yeah,
which I've more
awesome.
than doubled, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, I'm 10 years older than you.
Now, when we
Just
were
a
a
bunch of
kid,
liars.
I guess that makes me wet behind the ears. I think that's what they call it.
Makes you what?
Wet behind the ears?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say somewhere in between. No, no, no. Yeah, wet behind the ears for sure. Yeah.
you know, yeah,
You're wise for your age.
it's funny.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're on this call, we have three generations in here because me
Mm,
and Will is a different generation. If we get somebody either in a
yeah.
different generation than me or Will, then we have three.
Yeah. Hey, and speaking of different generations, you had earlier asked a question about working with couples that are not newlyweds, but further down the line, and when they're in their 40s and 50s, it's really a joy, because yeah, they're just older, they're experienced more, and they really know kind of what that is really matters to them.
Hmm.
And so I love that as well. It's great to work with the newlyweds, get them set up from the beginning, but there's really value in working with those that are in that age bracket. Yeah,
So, are
because of the
you
life
talking
they've already
about the
experienced.
age of the person or age of the marriage?
Age of the person, I think.
Okay.
Age of the person I was particularly talking about. Yeah, yeah. And it's unique. It's a unique time because they are also a little bit more focused on what's around the corner. They want to make work optional rather than a must,
Hmm.
is one way that I say it. And so they're like looking at that going, oh, do we have enough time to catch up? Here's where we're at, and so forth. And so I love looking at those later stages in their working life, and preparing them for retirement. That's an area that I really love, is the retirement planning.
Hmm. So, where is your limit? Because you said 40s and
Yeah.
50s, and then you were like, I love the preparing of the retirement. So, where is your limit?
Oh, I would say, well, I have a sweet client who's 73. So I guess I'm not really good with limits, because I was going to say, it just
If they're 6
depends.
feet under.
It just depends. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I would say typically 65 might, mid 60s or something, because it's a more active time earlier in preparing them
Hmm.
for what's ahead for retirement. Yeah.
And what's the earliest you like to do?
Early 20s.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, that's a young marriage, but that, yeah, yeah. I personally don't do. I have talked to people have sent just yesterday. I talked to somebody's younger brother as a favor, just to help him understand what to do with a little bit of extra money he had. And he's 19,
mhm,
but I'm not. But I'm not going to coach the 19-year-old. I will coach couples if they're in their early 20s, if they got married. I don't typically coach early 20s singles, but I know some great coaches that do.
mhm,
So I think that's important too, that we coach those that we know we are most suited for,
mhm.
because yeah, it's just going to be much more powerful. So
Yes.
yeah, we do. Yeah,
It's key that you say that because like my spot that I like focus on is like 25 to like 45.
got it.
Now I have coached before and after. Like when I do minors, it's typically just the 3 steps.
Okay.
As you become adult, is more detailed. But
Yeah.
I had found in coaching, and correct me if I'm wrong, usually if you're under 25, you don't really know what's going on, and you don't want to settle down. When you get your money, you want to blow it. And you don't really
Mm.
know how to settle down because you're fresh, you're new. You just turned 18, whatever, and you're just in the blowing mind. And I have some clients it's over 45, but typically as you get in the later years, it's hard to invest because you need a little bit of time for retirement. You can help them with what they already have and help them
Mhm.
grow more, but if they don't have any retirement,
Mhm.
it's hard to coach those people because they're already near their limits.
I think I
Um,
love solving problems. So, that is the reality of their situation. If they come to me in their 50s and they're behind, it's a reality of their situation. I love taking that on and um, helping them think through that and strategizing for how can they make the most of it given where they're at, and talking them through that, and um, coming up with a plan.
mhm,
So, yeah, I think that my heart does. I really do like that now that you
mhm.
mention it. Hmm.
Yeah, that's
I've
powerful.
had some amazing conversations recently with some very young people. Um, and they'll come to me sometimes. We don't end up coaching, but because they really weren't even looking for a coach. They can't even imagine investing in a coach at that stage of their life, but they have some great questions. And some of them are just really surprised me at how wise they are. I had that conversation yesterday with the brother of a client. I was like, how did you get to know all this? Because it's so unusual. But I know what you're saying, David. Typically, it's a different stage in their life, but it's really refreshing when you do get to talk to somebody who's got that education, that
Mhm.
that financial literacy early. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you're a baby and you have $1,000, you don't ever have to invest nothing else. That $1,000 will make you a million by the time you retire if you never touch it.
It can make you a lot.
You know.
Yeah. Hmm.
So, but if you learn young, like if I knew what I knew now, back when I was 18,
I
I'd be
know.
a billionaire.
I know. Don't we all wish we all wish we knew
Hmm.
what we do now. Yeah. Life doesn't seem to work that way. Will. Oh wait, this is question Q&A from other people or something, but you haven't talked in a while, so I was like, Will, what's going on in your mind? I'm
Yeah,
not the
I'm just
moderator, so
really
sorry.
enjoying the back and forth
Yeah.
between you guys. Um, yeah, and I'm like thinking about my niche as you're talking
Yeah.
about your niches or
Uh,
niche,
oh, both
niche.
are correct. Both are correct. I looked it
Right,
up.
right, right. I appreciate that. So I guess one of them is a different language, maybe I don't know, but So my niche would be married couples. I've got a couple clients right now who have been married for over 20 years,
Yeah.
and they've been with me for over a year. And they're just so precious, so precious. And just hearing both of their perspectives. I mean, it's no wonder they're together. They're so very different. I mean, goodness, they're very different. And I could listen to them forever. Like they're just so interesting.
Oh.
But with each session comes a new thing. It rises to the surface, and we talk things through. And I really do not much talking at all. So I guess that's like translating into this podcast. I'm just like listening to you guys. But yeah, I think that us coaches provide a safe place for our clients. Like you said before, Dee, couples really struggle with like having money conversations. We can talk about something else, but let's not talk about that. But then when you meet with a coach, and the coach is providing the safe place, it changes everything. It opens everything up, doesn't it?
Really, really helps, right? I bet you love doing that too, just being that third party that allows that to open up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then we do need to help them grow in having those money conversations themselves, because we're not always going to be around, right?
That is so true. So key. The budget committee meetings, they don't involve me.
Right.
I ask them, hey, how did that last budget committee meeting go? What did you bring your sweet wife? And normally it's like nothing. And I'm like, what? So there's like banter back and forth there. And so I don't know. Yeah, the budget committee meetings is so key, so key. And I love that you bring it up, because we're not always there. We don't want our clients to be like using us as a crutch. That's unhealthy.
Yeah.
So what are some ways other than the budget committee meeting that you have found, some practical ways that you have recommended to your clients?
Okay, other than the budget committee meetings. Yeah. I will give them conversation starters. So I will actually ask them, not just a budget committee meeting, but I will give them a question to ask each other, to just have a money conversation that is not even about the numbers, not even looking at the numbers. So because a lot of times they don't know how to talk about money, so they need something to talk about that isn't as potentially volatile. Like what, $167 on that, if you're looking at the budget. So these need to be simpler questions, and they need to be ones that build up that curiosity, where they can exercise that curiosity and non-judgment. So I think that is really, really key. And so each day or each session, there's a different question to ask. If it fits kind of in the context. I mean, yeah, I don't have a real regimented system to that. But always try to think of something that they can have a conversation about that is outside of the budget committee meeting. Yeah.
And how important is that budget committee meeting, just to really provide a place for us to present our lists? My list is on my phone.
Yeah.
And just to get the lists out, and and throughout the week when we're not in the meeting, I don't want to hear about it. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say the N word. Don't nag me about this. Or maybe it's the other way. Like don't try to boss me about this or whatever. Like whatever. Like just don't talk to me about money. Okay, throughout the week. But now that we're here in the budget committee meeting, let's get the lists out. Like, how important is it to have that defined time?
Yeah. I think that it is really important when they're learning financial competencies and developing new systems, and they're really trying to gain control over their money. They're in a season of learning a lot of new things and implementing things. And so I think it is foundational. I think it's really important. I don't always call it budget committee meeting. I call it just, I don't have a name for it. Review I want you to look at your plan and your budget or cash flow plan, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I want you to look at that. We decide whether that's going to be every week or every 2 weeks or once a month, maybe as things get going. But I think it's foundational during this season in their life. I think that as time goes on, probably still monthly is great, but it just depends. I think that could stretch out to maybe every quarter would be great. I'm a planner, so I don't really like the idea of going any longer than that, but
Sure.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, the free spirit in me is like, we don't ever have to talk about that. It's fine. But I know, like, the realist in me is like, oh, that's silly. Like, that's not realistic.
Well, then, for you, I mean, I think, were you in the situation if things are humming, I think every quarter, just because usually there's one person that sort of is doing the nuts and bolts, kind of, paying the bills or looking at what's coming in and what's going out and tracking that and all that kind of stuff. So I think once a quarter is great, just to sort of bring someone up to speed, or maybe you've saved up your questions and that kind of thing. It just depends on where they're at along the journey.
And you said something really key there. As a free spirit, I think that operating in the nuts and the bolts is very key. So, for my couples, I try to encourage the free spirit to pick up half of paying the bills, to work that out, to pick up half of the budgeting process, to work that out, because if we're not seeing it, then it's almost impossible to relate.
Oh, yeah.
And right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
if we can't relate,
it's more than just seeing it. It's more than just having your spouse show it to you periodically. But yeah, I'm going to take that with me, because I think that finding it lightens the burden for the other one a little bit, and it gets the other one to kind of feel it a little bit more. So I think that's good. Yeah. So I mean, Will, you're a free spirit, but you got to do some of it. Sorry.
That's right. Exactly right. And, and I start to appreciate if I'm single, but if hypothetically, we're talking about me, so I'm going to keep it in context. I would start to appreciate my detail-oriented wife if, in fact, God forbid, I marry another free spirit. That'll be interesting. So,
we'll still make it work. Come to me, because you need that outside part, even though you're so wise around me. Just come to me.
Dee's like, come on. You can I can be your coach. And that's actually a really great idea. I may take you up on that when the time comes. So the detail-oriented lovely lady that I will marry, it will allow me to.
I'm going to look through my contacts right now, but most of my contacts are my peers are a bit older.
I'm celebrating my 7th year of the 25th anniversary. So there you go. You can do some quick math. But so I will be appreciating her hard work, and she'll be appreciating mine, because I'm doing it all now. I'm a free spirit, and I do all the paying the bills, all the budget, and between you and me, I'm actually starting to like it. Okay. Don't tell the other free spirits I said that. Okay. I'm discovering new parts of me, I guess. That's whatever. Great. But it's good. It's a good thing. So doing it with somebody, though, that's always it's a challenge.
Yeah.
So we might be turning a new free thinker to a detailed oriented.
Yeah. Maybe no, I think he's just going to end up being like the perfect balance of the two.
You are, you're really. I'm gonna call you about the coaching thing. I'm gonna call you. You got me.
And
I love it.
the perfect catch, perfectly balanced there with the finances. Anybody would love that. Who could say no to that? Dang it.
Yeah, right. Well,
Hmm.
you need to be involved with the lady that I choose. So,
Yeah.
um, so for us coaches, how important is it to encourage, to point out the good in our clients? How important is that encouragement? Because it's,
Yeah.
between us,
Right.
everybody here, and everybody that watch on replay, we live in a culture that's almost anti-encouragement, don't we? Like, we just want to point out things. We want to like point at people and talk about them behind their back. And it's almost like we're rallying around our disagreements and our hatred rather than our love and our encouragement of others. Like, I
Mhm.
need a lot of encouragement, and I've been told that I'm an encourager and a motivator, and that's awesome because it's what I strive to be.
Mhm.
But I also need it, and I
Mhm.
soak it up like a sponge. So
Mhm.
how important is it for you, Dee, to encourage your clients?
Massive, and it's yeah, massive. I mean, it's probably one of my love languages as well, and it's just incredibly important. I do think that a lot of times people come, it's really hard for them to step forward and seek the help of a coach, to have that first conversation, because they are afraid of being judged, so
Yeah.
immediately we need to let them know that this is different.
Mhm.
And I think even people coming through, if they're seeking to visit with a coach through the Ramsey solutions, the message is so, uh, uh, the principles, the direction is so great. But then there's a radio show that you listen to, and a radio show is so different than a coach, right?
Mhm.
Just by the nature of things, too. It just because they're different platforms or they're different, connections with people. So I think that a lot of people will they come, but they're afraid. And what they need is, well, we don't change our, we don't, when we raise kids, we do it through encouragement.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, you make a good point. But right now we are at a special time. Now, we did have some technical difficulties.
Oh, okay.
Um, so with that being said, we have two people currently in here. There was no questions posted, so here's what I'm going to offer. For the people watching replay, I'm going to give you a special deal right now. In the description below, there is a spot where you can claim your reward. We're going to offer something special. We're going to give to anybody out there a on one, two coaches with you, one on one. And we're going to give you that just for watching this video and in the description, claiming your reward. Now, we like to
Cool.
make three special announcements. The first one we're going to mention is we have a community for all coaches. This is for every single coach, no matter what you are, Ramsey, Tony Robbins, ICF, BCC. If you're a credentialed or certified coach, this is for you. This is a free community to get you in so that you're able to connect with other coaches because connection is powerful. You can't handle everything, and when you need support, there's a coach that is there to help you out. Number two, we have a absolute CRM, which is an all-in-one program that'll handle everything for you. Handles marketing, handles all social medias, handles all your websites, does everything for you in one shot. And then finally, we want to push a special thing out there. We're going to do something special just for every single person listening. We're going to be holding an event very shortly that's going to be a massive event. It's going to be 300 people is going to be allowed to get in. And this is going to be for you. You will
Cool.
not want to miss it. In the next coming weeks, you're going to hear about it and you will want to catch this. And we're going to have a fourth announcement, and it's going
Okay.
to be by Dee Zimmerman. We want to support her. So why don't you let us know what you got coming forward?
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. So I mentioned the group program. I think, David, you asked me about that earlier, and I mentioned that I've got that. And active enrollment has just started for it. It's going to start in either the second or the third week of May, and it's for couples. And it's this topic that we talked about. And because it's a first launch, it's going to be so amazing because I'm going to want to over deliver. Absolutely over deliver. So I am super excited to do this. And I think we've got a link, right, David? I think we've got a link in the chat that brings you directly to the sales page that I have for the group coaching. And what I mean by that is if you go to that site, what you can see is all the details of what you get,
That's
of
right.
what the program entails and how we do it.
And it
Mhm.
won't be in the chat, but it's in the description below. In the
Got it.
description below, you can
Oh,
get her link as well as all the other links we talked about.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. And
Yeah.
also, if you do land there, if you go to the homepage, there are some free. There is a free resource for you too, if that's where you want to start. That is actually 10 weekly workouts that financial freedom workouts that kind of help you get going. So take advantage of that if you'd like.
That
That's right.
sounds wonderful. A lot of value there. Dee, when are the dates? When does this thing happen?
Yeah, let's say it happens May 12th. I'm hoping to have a welcome party. Or is it the 11th? Probably going to be Monday nights. But if I have two groups, I'm going to keep the group small. If I have two, I will have 2 nights. And yeah, just a handful of people for each of the groups. Want to keep this small since it's a live group coaching thing. And so let's go with May 12th or 11th, whatever that Monday is or Tuesday. Yeah,
May 11th is the Sunday. May 12th is the Monday.
I had the date right then. Okay. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. So just around the
So
corner.
for all those guys out, the guys and gals, it's a couple. Make sure you join in because spots are limited. She's only going to get 10 people.
Yeah, it'd be great to get 2 groups. I would love it. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
make sure you sign in, hurry up because spots are limited. Get
And
with
I
her
will
as soon
say
as you can.
this. Thank you. I will say this. If your spouse is not as excited about this, that's normal. They're going to be okay. There's going to be couples there. They're all carefully chosen, but they're not all the spouses are going to show up going, "Whoa, I'm great. I'm glad I'm here," you know? So, yeah, it's a process.
hmm And in most couples, one is really excited and one's like, do I have to?
Sometimes, yeah.
I know one couple I was dealing with. The guy was a military brat. He actually worked for the Marines,
Uh,
and he was all gun ho. So he's like this, all in the camera, and his wife was in the background. She had to
yeah.
be there, but she was in the background.
Yeah.
After the second or third session, she's
Uh,
halfway in. She's pushing him. She's like all in, and I was like,
oh,
that's impressive, you
yeah,
know.
that's great.
So,
Yeah,
it's always great when you
absolutely.
actually get those other people and draw them in. And
Yeah,
communication does that.
yeah, right.
Mhm.
So, um,
Mhm.
do you have any final comments, Will?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Dee, for
Yeah,
gracing us with your presence. You're so lovely and powerful coach. Yeah, so enjoyed it. Looking forward till next time,
yeah.
and keep practicing that tennis swing.
All
And
right.
yes, that's all I've got. Well, actually, you know what? I do have some more things. Talking about that absolute CRM, just from a personal standpoint, I have benefited. My coaching practice has largely benefited. If you're looking for a lot of automations, because for all of us solopreneurs out there, it's like we could split ourselves up into like different
Mm,
people and like just go like send them out, but that's not the case until we're like, building a practice and hiring other coaches and employees. But if we're not doing that, if that's not our vision, but we still want to like split ourselves up, automations is where it's at. Absolute CRM can do that for you.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
At some point, you've
and
got to do it.
go ahead. What?
At some point, you just got to do that. You can't do it
Yeah,
all. Yeah.
absolutely. That's right. You're exactly right. And then the community. Don't want to miss that. I'm going to admin in there. I can serve you, get it popping. There's so many calendar events coming down the pike, guys, gals. That'll be in the description below as well, right, David?
That's right. And Dee, did you have any final words?
I did not. I did not, but my final word is to just say thanks for being here. And it's been really fun. The conversation has been great. You guys are awesome to visit with about this. And I just wish you guys the best. We'll stay in touch. Yeah. But
Yes,
thank you. And all the listeners, thank you. This is, it's a big deal. It's a big deal how couples communicate about money because it is one of the top 3 reasons for divorce. And even if it doesn't lead to that, it does erode, it can erode other areas of your relationship. And the opportunity there is great to just deepen your bond when you can have shared goals and feel comfortable talking about it together.
that's right. And
Mhm.
Dee, I just want to thank you for coming on here. For those that don't know, Dee was one of our first people on this show. And this is the second time we've had her on here, and it's been a huge improvement from the last time she was on here. And from the next time, hopefully the next time she comes on, we actually have a studio because we're actually working on getting a studio for the podcast.
Okay. I thought
So
you were talking about how I have improved.
you have
Um,
improved as well.
a huge
We all
improvement.
improve.
She has made a huge improvement since the last time she was on.
We all are improving, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, but yes, we do look forward to the next time we can talk to you because you are one of the great ones. And so we always appreciate you being on here.
Likewise.
And
Okay.
thank you, everybody, for coming. And we'll see you same bat time, same bat channel.
All right.